'Twas the night before Christmas Eve, and all through the makeup industry, things were still stirring, but not as much as they would usually be. So it does mean we have very short releases and rants this week. But I do want to say thank you so much to everyone who has been watching throughout the year. I so appreciate all of your support, and a huge thank you to everyone who has tagged me in makeup content. I'm showing your names now. Your contributions are always so appreciated. But believe it or not, there are still some new releases. So let's get chatting about them. So the first thing that we're actually going to discuss is e.l.f. Cosmetics. And towards the end of last week, they actually came out with a bunch of new things. And this was one of the last things that I didn't get to talk about last week. So let's talk about it now. This is the Camo Hydrating CC Cream. So this is different to their existing CC Cream because this is a hydrating formula. There's 30 shades. Now, to be fully transparent, I thought that 30 shades wasn't enough, but when I saw it on the model, it started to look like it was a little bit more inclusive. They're retailing for $15 each, and you're getting 1 ounce of product, so that's 30 grams. They say that this is a full coverage, color correcting foundation, which, honest to God, as a phrase, seems extremely confusing to me because color correcting means something very specific, i.e. that it's offsetting certain tones. Whereas I think they're trying to say that it's like full coverage, but in a very different way, because if it was truly color correcting, it would mean that there's like oranges in there to like score or kind of drown out some of the purples, or that there's green in there to drown out some of the red, but you couldn't have that across all of them. That seems very strange to me. So I don't know why they've said that it's color correcting. This is, by the way, taken verbatim from their own website. It does have an SPF of 30, so that's good to know. You can link it in with your existing SPF. They say that because of the ingredients that you have in it, including vitamin B5, there's tremella mushroom, and there's hyaluronic acid, it's going to keep your skin plump looking, which I personally like. You know, I like a bit of hyaluronic acid. I would bathe in the damn stuff. Here's the thing, I really like e.l.f. A lot of the stuff that I've tried from them in the past, I really enjoy, and I feel like this was a very smart move on their behalf. Like, let's be real, the Camo collection is like a staple. I think everyone has tried the Camo concealer at some point, and I mean, they came out with the Camo blushes as well last week. So this is just a smart move, and again, we're starting to come out of the winter. People want something hydrating because our skin has been absolutely destroyed by the cold weather. So I feel like this is actually a pretty good time to do this. The way that they've swatched it on the skin looks a little bit strange, in the sense that like it doesn't look that inclusive at like the very light or at the very deep range. But then I'm going to show you some pictures here as well of the lightest and the darkest shade. So this is the darkest shade, and it does look like it's covering the model pretty darn well. And as they've said, like, this is meant to be full coverage. It's not like a skin tint, so it does look like actually it's a lot deeper than they had actually put it down as. And then this is the fairest shade. Now I will say this is quite yellow leaning, like it's very warm. Like, I couldn't really wear that. I think it would make me look a little bit jaundiced. I think they need to get more cool undertones. Weirdly, they start off their lightest shade as having warm undertones. It's a very strange way of doing things. But anyways, this is obviously not meant to replace the existing Camo CC cream. This is meant to be a hydrating one. So instead of having your semi-matte finish, you're going to have a dewy finish instead. I mean, I think this makes sense. Like, it's adding to their existing line. I will say drugstore is getting more and more expensive. Like, $15 is pricey, or maybe I'm just old and I don't understand how currency works, which, honest to God, fair. I think that might be slightly part of the problem. But once this gets over to Ireland, it's going to be like, what, 18 euros, something like that. And I'm like, I might as well just cough up a little bit more and have a slightly bougier sort of a foundation. But I will say I also have like my Wet n Wild here, like my tinted hydrator, and I've really enjoyed that. I think that's a really fantastic foundation at the price. I'm definitely intrigued about this for sure. Like, e.l.f. Cosmetics has such a good track record, so I'm not like against this, but it's not really for me. When I showed it to you guys, 34% of you loved it, 53% said not for me, and 13% said that it needs more deep shades, which, based upon the pictures that they were providing, I agree with. It looked really strange. And then, all of the things. Natasha Denona, the poor thing, it always happens to her. A leak, another leak. Oh wait, that's surprised. This happened, by the way, on Mercari. And then shortly after the leak, she was like, oh, look at this. And she like released these pictures over on her Instagram. I gotta say that the pictures on her Instagram looked so much better than the terrible ones on Mercari, because that's always the way. So this is the My Mini Dream collection, and it's coming with a 5-piece eyeshadow palette, and that is going to retail for $27. Weirdly, do you know when this is launching? Christmas Eve, the 24th. Seems very strange. But by the way, if you are with Sephora and you're a Rouge member, you will have access for it on December 23rd. So you lucky ducks, you can get there a little bit earlier. Now let me kind of fill you in on what the story is on the eyeshadow first. There's 4 new shades, but she's taken an existing shade from the Dream eyeshadow palette, and that's the shade Nurture. She basically used that as like the focal point of everything else, and the rest, as I said, are 4 new tones. So there's a mixture of mattes and some shimmers. Now, to the best of my knowledge, the mattes are like her standard powder mattes, not her cream formula, so just keep that in mind. I like the look at this. There's like a taupey cool toneness to this, and like she did show some very nice swatches, which does have me kind of going, oh, is this basic? Yeah, but I kinda like it. I will say the thing that's annoyed me is, she knows this. She knows that there are people like me. Natasha, make your stuff for me that have all of her stuff. So we're like, or at least I'm sitting here kind of like, I have the shade Nurture from the Dream palette. Why have you done this? So I think she should have maybe like done a twist on that shade, maybe done it as like a shimmer rather than like a matte or something like that. I think that would have been really, really interesting. I'm still gonna get it because I'm stupid, so keep that in mind. Then the other thing that she came out with, or is coming out with, is the My Mini Dream Glow Blush, and that's retailing for $20. And it's inspired by her iconic My Dream Cheek Trio, and it features the same mauve shade in the shade Natasha, accompanied with a highlighter, and it's debuting in a brand new soft hybrid powder formula. Now she says you can apply the blush shade separately, which by the way, good luck, because they're not separated by a pan. Or she says you can mix all 3 and blend for a flushed and radiant look. Yeah, Natasha, that's kind of going to have to be what we're going to do, because like, what blush brush is that little that you could get in along there and manage to not pick up all the other things? Very strangely done. I wish she had separated them. I think she did the smart thing of, yes, she's brought in the same mauve shade, but she's changed like the formula. So I think that is very, very smart. I like this. I would personally use this as a like a glowy blush type thing of, I'd swish them all together. I'm not even going to pretend that I'm going to be able to like get a brush in there and delineate. Do you know what's funny? And this is just me being stupid, but if any other brand came out with this, I'd be like, you have nothing separating the pans. This has annoyed me. And it does kind of annoy me, because I see even like the way it's kind of splattered, but it kind of makes sense with the way that she's organised the My Mini Dream, etc. Like that's kind of been the whole like inspiration around it. Like even with the brush set that she came out with, it had all those like blots of paint on it. If anyone else did it, I'd kind of be annoyed about it, but I swear I am so like down the rabbit hole with Natasha Denona at this point. I'm just like, yeah, you can do no wrong. Like I said, I don't think it's like the absolute best. If you are like me and you have a bunch of her stuff already, you probably don't need this. Look me in the eye, you know you don't need it. You know you don't need it. But if you're like me, you're probably gonna get it anyways. So you're in good company, I guess. You know the drill, lads. I am a disgusting, deplorable affiliate. So I do have a link with them. I do earn a commission. So if you want to get it, just FYI, you can do it that way. I do want this. And I'm annoyed that I want this, because everything that's like logical is kind of going, there's only 4 new shades. You have the existing shade. And then the actual blush, how are you going to use that? You're just going to have to swish it all together. That's silly. But the heart wants what the heart wants. And anyways, when I put it to you guys, I mean, look, you'll see that terrible Mercari picture. 11% of you loved it, which, honest to God, fair based upon that picture. It looked way more yellow toned there. Now it looks way more taupey. Like, what the hell were they doing? But 36% of you said, what's with the leaks? I mean, absolutely. They're like the Titanic at this point. It isn't a leak. Like, there's a full gash in the side of the ship. Should I say the word gash on YouTube? Who knows? Anyways, when I showed you the Glow Blush, then 11% of you loved it, and 37% said you wished that the shades were separated by pans, which, honest to God, yeah, same. Then we have Tarte Cosmetics, and they came out with a whole new collection. This is the Glamazon collection. Now, full transparency, there's way more than what I'm showing you, but I kind of went, let's try and just do the interesting things, which, by the way, saying the word interesting to this is being kind. We're going to start off first by talking about the Glamazon Amazonian Clay Eyeshadow Palette. So that's the much larger one. It's retailing for €55. It's a 10-pan eyeshadow palette, and 2 of those pans are much larger. They're basically twice the size of the other pans in there, and this is basically like a highlight and there's like a transition shadow, because the rationale is you're going to use those a little bit more, which I actually agree with. I think that's very, very smart. I like that idea. Now, of course, they've done this whole thing of like, there's Amazonian clay infused in there, and I'm like, okay, is there that much Amazonian clay running around in the wild that we could just grab it and not totally screw with an ecosystem? Because that seems unlikely to me. Now, they've changed around the packaging because apparently they've made it like 10% thinner, which is great for people who are traveling, and I feel like that's exactly Tarte Cosmetics demographic, is people who are like on their way to work or whatever, so I think that's smart. There's apparently 1 luster, 4 shimmers and 5 mattes, which I just feel, in my opinion, very expensive for €55. That half of the palette is mattes. Like, mattes are not expensive to make, so I don't really understand what they've done here. I will say, when I saw it swatched, I was like, actually, I don't hate the colour story. Like, I don't dislike it. I like there's like elements of like grunginess in here. All that being said, I have those exact shades in other palettes which are coordinated in a much more interesting way. I mean, if you look at, for instance, Tarte Cosmetics Man-Eater palette, they have a lot of these tones, but it's done in a way more interesting formula. There's like duochromes in there, etc. Like, I just don't understand how at this point Tarte are still kind of doing like the same old thing. Like, those swatches do not inspire. They're very like one-dimensional. There's nothing there that's kind of making you go, ah yes, I must lose all reason and get it. It looks nice enough on the eye. Like, there's nothing that I'm kind of going, oh, it looks gross, but there's nothing special about it. That it's not €55 worth of special. I'm just like, I could get a lot better for a lot less, to be fair. But they also came out with another eyeshadow palette. It's the Glamazon To Go, and that's €30. This is 5 new shades, so keep that in mind. And this is like much more travel friendly than the previous one. Again, they've made like a smaller package, which sounds very wrong, just so you can bring it on the go. There's 3 mattes and there's 2 shimmer shades, which they say are inspired by the Amazon, which you can kind of see. Like, it's fine. This is kind of giving me Rare Beauty. You know how Rare Beauty has that eyeshadow palette that has those colours? It's given me that. Like, there's nothing wrong with this. I actually think it's quite pretty. Would I pay €30 for this? I don't know. I feel like they're trying to do Natasha Denona now. Like, I think that's quite funny. Like, this is more expensive than the Natasha Denona that I've just seen. But again, I'm so like down the rabbit hole with Natasha Denona that I'm like, okay, yeah, give me whatever you have, Natasha. I'm kind of half wondering, if I saw this colour story from Natasha Denona, would I be wildly called to it? Maybe I would, but I suppose you see, I don't have that much experience with Tarte Cosmetics, or actually, to be truthful, I have nada experience with Tarte Cosmetics, so I can't actually say anything when it comes to their formula. I've heard like apparently there can be like a wide variability in the way that they perform. I actually think this is a decent eyeshadow palette. I don't hate it. I don't hate it at all. I just wish they had like more interesting formulas in there. I think this is a very good release at this time of the year, because it did release a couple of days ago, so just in time for Christmas. Those like last minute, quickly run into Sephora, Ulta, insert shop name here, grab this person something. I actually think this makes sense as like a little stocking filler. It's not bad. Is it my taste? Do you know what? I would probably wear it. I would. If I'm 100% honest with myself, I probably would. And it looks like something I'd be like, yes, I look like a professional and I'm going to be taken seriously in this, so I don't hate it. When I showed you the larger palette, 6% if you loved it, 33% said, and I agree, could dupe with existing palettes. And when I showed you the other eyeshadow palette, the smaller one, again 6% said love it and 29% said that you could dupe it from your collection. And then just as I sat down to record today, this was put onto Trendmade, and this is Anastasia Beverly Hills. Apparently they're coming out with a new velvet liquid lipstick, which I think is kind of interesting. This is all that we've actually seen. This is, as I said, a picture taken from Trendmade. This is coming out on December 28th, which in my mind, such a strange date to come out with this. I feel like maybe they missed the boat for Christmas. But very weird. Why not wait until like February then? Like, I don't know. The whole thing makes no sense to me. But they say that you're meant to get full coverage. It's an opaque color and you're meant to get hours of wear. They say, think liquid lipstick's intense payoff without the dryness or cracking mousse-like texture, delivering unprecedented color and a blurring finish for flawless, long-wearing lips. Now, we don't know how much it's going to cost. There's no information on the sort of shades that they're introducing, but obviously from that picture, it does look like we're getting quite a few pinky tones in there, which is making sense coming into like spring, believe it or not. Yes, we're coming out of the depths of winter. We're going to eventually go into spring. I think this was needed for ABH because, and it's been a really long time since I tried their liquid lipstick formula, because it was painful, I think is the only way of looking at it. Like, I don't even have very, very dry lips, but even I was kind of finding like it was highlighting dryness, that I was like, oh, there's dryness there? I did not know that there was dryness there. So I think they kind of needed to do that. The packaging is reminiscent of lots of things that I've seen recently. Like, it's kind of giving me a little bit of Vive, strangely. You know, like how Vive have like this concealer, it's giving the same sort of thing. I think it looks quite nice. I don't know how much it's going to cost. I'm going to wait for other people to see what they think of this and like relate back on the formula, because I'm not as into liquid lipsticks as I once was. I'm way more into bullets because I just think they look way more pleasant and aesthetically pleasing on my lips. Just saying. I don't know what you guys think, because I didn't put anything to you guys, and I'm literally recording this on a Friday to put out for tomorrow. Yeah, good luck guys. But I have some little sneak peeks to talk about. This one is from Adept Cosmetics and it's their Flying Fiddles palette, and it's apparently coming out sometime in 2024, so possibly January, who knows. I'm excited about this. Now, a couple of people commented down below on like my Instagram, TikTok, etc. They said that Flying Fiddle is apparently a type of a flower, specifically an iris. So they were saying there could be purples and yellows. Ha! I am intrigued. And the fact that they've got like a flower theme here now, it does look like roses on there and lace. Very, very interesting. So I am hella intrigued. I did initially say I'd love to see some like grey based multi-chromes. But you know what? I shall defer to the experts, which are Adept Cosmetics, and just let them do whatever they want to do, because I'm sure it'll be absolutely stunning. And then the very last sneak peek that we're talking about is Nomad Cosmetics, and they just said on their Instagram, a new start is coming. We are working to make 2024 our biggest year yet. So they've kind of shown little snippets of what the outside of the palette is. As per usual, they do a whole guessing game thing as to like, what's the destination? And apparently the guessing game is starting on January 8th. We don't have a lot of time until that. So like they're really like jumping off quite quickly. There's no rest for any of these brands, it seems. And between the guessing game and the actual launch, it's only 8 days, because the launch is on January 16th. I always feel it's tough for brands to like release things in January, because people just don't have the finances and everyone's tired and they've eaten too much and they're like, no, we don't need more things, it's too much. So it'll be really interesting to see what they do. I'm kind of hoping they have some of the colours that are on the outside of that packaging, you know, those purples, pinks, etc. I would personally find that interesting, but hey, who cares what I think? I don't know what I'm talking about. But my gorgeous friends, that's it. That's the end of this week's very short episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm a stickler for like keeping with tradition and trying to make sure that I'm getting content out. So bear with me. I know it's not as long as normal, but I did want to have something for you guys, because I know a few of you say that this is like your Saturday tradition, and I really appreciate the support. I know I probably don't say it enough, but having this little community over here means so much to me. And when you guys join me and hang out, whether it's for a live or it's releases and rants, it's swatching Sundays, it means so much to me. This is part of why I got involved in YouTube in the first place, so thank you so much. But of course, before I end things, I have my favorite comment, and it's from last week's live. Thank you to everyone who joined, and this is from Michaela Reeds, who said, I really love these live show versions of releases and rants. It feels even more like just hanging out, and I totally agree. It's part of what I really enjoy about it, and I do want to keep that up. I'll be doing another one probably towards the end of January, guys, so keep a little eye out for that. But my gorgeous friends, that's it. That's the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a lovely, safe, happy Christmas wherever you are. And if that isn't the case, I hope that does change for you very, very soon. Thank you so much for all of your support. I so appreciate it. I'm going to do the growth thing now of kind of going, oh, like, comment, subscribe, all the general jazz. And it doesn't feel like it's very Christmassy to give my usual outro. So I guess I'll just say farewell, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.